One of the most common questions I hear, particularly from my Muslim friends, concerns the doctrine of the Trinity. How, they say, can you Christians believe in something as incoherent as the idea that God could take on flesh in the person of Jesus? Well, as I've dialogued with Muslims across the last 20 years or so, I've discovered that lying behind that objection is a misunderstanding of what Christians are talking about when we talk about the Trinity. Many of my Muslim friends believe that what Christians have done is taken a man, Jesus Christ, and we've worshipped him and we've elevated him and we've turned him into God. And how can a mere man become God? Well, I would say they're absolutely right. A man can't become God. But what if they have the objection the wrong way around? What if the question is not how could a man become God, but could God become man? Could the all-powerful creator of the universe choose to take on flesh and walk and talk with us if he wished to? That's the real question. Well, to answer that, we need to look a little bit at the character of God. You see, the God described by the Quran on the one hand and the God described by the Bible on the other are actually very different gods. The God of the Bible is a God who is relational. The God of the Quran is not. The God of the Bible is a God who can be known. The God of the Quran is not. The God of the Bible is a God who is described as being love in his very nature. The God of the Quran is not. And as those differences stack up, you realize we are dealing with two very different gods. Could the God of the Quran, a God who is distant and remote and unknowable, take on flesh in the person of Jesus Christ? No, that's nonsensical to suggest that. But what about the God of the Bible, the God who is relational, knowable, the God who is love? Well, if you look back to the very beginning of that God's dealings with the human race, you'll see that he's always stepped into human history. The God of the Bible walked and talked with Adam. He walked and talked with Abraham. He appeared in the burning bush to Moses. He walked and talked with Moses, says the book of Exodus, as a man spoke with his friend. Could that God take on flesh again and step into space and time in the person of Jesus? Yes, because it fits a pattern, it fits a consistency. But there's one last thought. If there is a gap between us and God, as the Bible says that the relationship between us and God is broken because of our sin and our rebellion and our self-centeredness. If there is a chasm between us, then only somebody who is both God and man can bridge that chasm between us and God. And that, says the Bible, is what Jesus came to do. And that's why the doctrine of the Trinity is not merely true theologically and philosophically and historically, it's why it matters existentially. Because if Jesus is not both God and man, then there is no hope of us being reconciled with God. If he is, then maybe peace with God is possible.